And see an audio-visual presentation specially commissioned for tonight's Siyum entitled Daf HaYomi, Past and Present.
It all began 89 years ago in Vienna, in August of 1923. It was the first Knessia Gedola, the first World Congress of Agudas Yisrael. The event brought together people from throughout Europe, including many of the greatest rabbinic leaders of the age. The Chavetz Chaim, the Ger Rebbe, Rab Chaim Oizer, the Chodkova Rebbe, the Radzina Rebbe, Rab Moshe Mordechai Epstein of Slobodka, Rabbi Zalman of Slutsk, Rabbi Yosef Leib Bloch of Telz, Rav Shlomo Zalman Breuer of Frankfurt, and many, many others. The goal of the Knessia was to unite all segments of our people under the banner of Torah. And yet, there was an unexpected event at the Knessia, one that would unite our people in a way that no one had ever imagined. Rav Meir Shapiro was only 36 years old, by far the youngest of the featured speakers. He was the Rav in Sanuk in Poland, a brilliant speaker, a charismatic leader, a spokesman for Torah Jews in the Sejm, the Polish parliament. His eyes blazed with enthusiasm, and with a loud, clear voice, he presented a creative idea, the Daf Yomi. He gave an example of a Jew who takes a 2-week journey from Eretz Yisrael to New York, and under his arm, he carries with him his Masechta Brachas, learning his daf every day. He arrives in America, and the very first morning that he walks into a Beis Medrash, he sees fellow Jews learning the very same daf. He joins them in their learning, and establishes an immediate rapport with strangers, who are now his Chaverim. Can there be a greater expression of unity and harmony amongst the nation? What is more, says Rav Meir Shapiro, there are many Masechtas that very few people learn. They are learned only by Yechidei Skula. However, thanks to the Daf Yomi, these Masechtas would no longer be orphans. Rav Shapiro called for the new Daf Yomi program to begin on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, 1923. When the Chavetz Chaim heard of this, he rejoiced, and he said to Rav Meir Shapiro, when you come to the Olam HaEmes, all those lonely Masechtas will come out to greet you. His listeners at the Knessia were electrified. But would this idea take hold, or would it just join many other wonderful and imaginative ideas in the dustbins of history? Now, it is the first night of Rosh Hashanah in the Beis Medrash of Ger. Tens of thousands of Hasidim have come to spend Rosh Hashanah with the Heilige Imrei Emes. That evening, the Rebbe asks his Gabbai to bring him Masechta Brachas because he's about to start the Daf Yomi. The word spreads like wildfire. The leader of the largest Hasidus in the world is learning Daf Yomi. Within seconds, every Masechta Brachas in Ger is in use, and people are waiting in line to use them next. For the rest of the 1920s and 1930s, Daf Yomi grew more and more popular, and fittingly, the mass celebration of the first Siyum HaShas was held in 1931 in Rab Meir Shapiro's own city of Lublin.
The second Siyum HaShas of Daf Yomi took place in Lublin. There were about 20,000 people assembled in Lublin, many Jews of Lublin, the Talmidim of Yeshivas in Lublin, and very prestigious and very great guests. It was a great event which lasted a whole day.
And then came 1939, and the sun set on the Jewish world of Europe. Devastation, destruction, and desolation. And yet after the war, slowly and painstakingly, the Jewish nation began to rejuvenate, and with it, the Daf Yomi.
This is the only reason why we survive as a nation. Not because the Jews survived here, because I could escape with my father from the Nazis. As a nation, we survived because of this Siyum, because of this learning of Gemara and Tosfos.
After Auschwitz, Sachsenhausen, Oranienburg, Oberhof, and Buchenwald, we celebrated, together with a small group of survivors of Sheikhs applied to Eden, celebrated the third Siyum Hashas, which none of us participated in or learned it. Maybe a little bit in the ghettos, but certainly not in the concentration camps. The EP camp of Feldafing, where I was, they assembled and they celebrated. They had three Gemaras middle, and about 4 Mesechtes, 5 Mesechtes, Brachos, in order to Haskalah to start the fourth Machzor of Daf Yomi. And of course, those Jews who were Chalashim to see Yiddish oasis again and to learn, they grabbed it. And it so happened that to the Siyum, to the Mesilah itself, they brought these 3 Gemaras and a few Gemaras Brachos. And here we started again.
Following a small gathering in Brooklyn for the 6th Siyum in the Beis Yaakov dining room, the first major public Siyum in New York City was held in Manhattan Center in June of 1975. It was the 7th cycle of Daf Yomi, with 2,000 people in attendance. 7 years later, in 1982, the Felt Forum was packed with 5,000 people, with several thousand outside clamoring to get in. Daf Yomi was back on the rise. In 1990, Madison Square Garden was filled to capacity with over 20,000 people in attendance. The 1997 Siyum filled the garden once again, plus the NASA Coliseum. As the quantity grew, so did its quality. Daf Iyun stimulated learners to further heights. Mifal HaShas and Dirshu enlisted multitudes in rigorous learning programs around the world. In 2005, it was Madison Square Garden and the Continental Airlines Arena, plus the Javits Center for Overflow, and over 70 locations broadcast around the world. Daf Yomi was page 1 news, but more importantly, tens upon tens of thousands all over the world were enriching themselves and the Jewish world with the daily daf. Meir Shapiro had a vision. The vision is real, and it is powerful. We here today are living proof. May it come to fruition that v'niyeh anachnu v'tzetzoenu v'tzetzoei tzetzoenu v'tzetzoei amcha beis Yisrael kulanu yoidei shemecha v'loindei zerasecha lishma. May we and our future generations forever be connected to Hashem and His Torah. May we continue to witness the growth of Limud HaTorah here and all around the world.